Hey guys, I'm Dave and welcome to the Weird Kid Show. Here is part 2 of the dollar store build, which is a demon. If you haven't seen it, you need to go back and watch part 1, which is where I show you how I took a $10 Dollar General store skeleton that's 36 inches tall, and I put some stuffing in it, corpsed it, made him a mouth with some teeth, some ears, some horns, some eyes. Okay, but we ran out of time. This took a little while. Okay, oh, and I put a tail on him. Forgot about that. This took a little while, so I ran out of time. The video would have gone a lot longer. I didn't want to do that, so I figured let's do a part 2. So here we are, part 2. So let's get into it. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Alright guys, like I said, welcome and thank you for being here. This is the continuation, part 2 of the demon build. Okay, so everything's been put together. We got some stuffing in here, and we got the whole thing shrink wrapped. Teeth in, mouth made, tongue in. I made some ears out of EVA foam, which was inspired by Alan Hobbs' tutorial. I made some horns. I got them in the position that I like. Snuck a tail in there. So now it's time to paint. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do to this is I'm going to tape off his tongue, teeth, and eyes, and just go ahead and spray paint them flat black. That's going to act as a primer and a base for when I start to put on my actual color. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first, and I'm going to explain to you what colors I'm going to use, what color scheme I'm going to go for. Okay, so hang tight. And we're back. So I took some painter's tape and I just put some tape on the eyes, the teeth, the tongue, protect everything, and then I just blasted it with black spray paint, flat black spray paint. Okay, now I use, for acrylics, I use apple barrel products a lot of times because that's what I find at Walmart. When I run and get groceries, I'm always grabbing paint, but there's been a shortage there lately. So I ran out of flat black, and I went in there, and this odd time that I went through, I saw one bottle of black, and I didn't even look at it good. I just grabbed it. Okay, it's black. Well, come to find out, it's gloss. I don't use gloss unless you know, maybe somewhere where it's like inside the mouth, it's something good for you know, to make it, to get the wet look. But I like the flat black. So what I did find here in my treasure trove of paints is called pavement. So I just touched up around the eyes and the mouth with that. Okay, so you probably don't even see the subtle color shift anyway, but it doesn't matter. Okay, because now I'm going to dry brush this burnt umber. And I already know Keith's like, all right, yeah, he's going to use burnt umber. This is a big bottle too. I love burnt umber. This is an awesome color to use for dry brushing, and it works for a bunch of things. Okay, I'm always keeping stocked up on that. And then all I need is my little chip brush. Okay, and this is one that I call it season. Some of these people might throw these away. No, me, I keep it, you know, I just keep cleaning it and using it until it absolutely dies. Okay, dies on the prop battlefield, if you will. And so they get gnarly and everything, but they work good for me. All right, so now I'm gonna do some dry brushing for you here. Now we're gonna get into this a little bit, and then I'm gonna go and finish it, and then when we come back, I'm gonna show you the next color I use, and I'll do a bit of dry brushing with that as well. Now I'm gonna tell you up front, I'm gonna put clothes on this guy and possibly armor. All right, yeah, my mind's starting to go in a general direction, and I'll explain a bit later. But yeah, so I technically didn't need to paint the whole body. All right, and you don't have to paint the whole body. if you already got it in your mind, okay, he's gonna have a shirt on, pants, whatever, you know, maybe he's covered with fur. You know, if you don't need to see this, then you don't need to paint it. So I'm leaving that up to you. Me, I just paint it every time. That's just how I roll. Okay, so burnt umber. All right, so I got a nice pool of it in there, but I'm gonna get rid of a lot of this excess. Okay, and get me a piece of paper towel, rag, toilet paper, whatever, and then I just get a bunch of that stuff out. Basically, almost like I'm cleaning the brush. I'm just getting it off there. All right. So now, but I still have it on there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and swipe it. I'm not getting in there. I'm not painting and pushing the brush into whatever it is I'm working on. Basically, you're dusting with the tip of the brush. Okay, so this is what I'm doing here. See, I'm just swiping it. I'm not really getting in there, and because most of the pattern wrinkles and whatnot are going this way, I'm gonna stay this way. I don't really want to get into there, because then it's gonna start getting down into them crevices, and we don't want that. We want some it makes it more three-dimensional, and you know, it helps with shadows. Now right off the bat, I'm telling you, as I'm dry brushing it, some of the plastic is starting to separate. Okay, expect that to happen. It's okay. You just go back in there with some paint, you know, or repaint it, or you can glue it with some hot glue or super glue or whatever. But me, I'm not too concerned about that, because this is going to be covered. I know that now, but I'm still going to go ahead and paint this thing. All right, bit more paint, swipe, swipe. Okay. All right, starting to get in there. I love this color though. Okay, so you get the point. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dry brush this whole thing, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you what colors I'm going to use, and then we're going to do the next layer. We might do 2 more layers after that. We might only need to do 1. I don't know. It's all going to depend on how this thing develops. Okay, so hang tight. We're getting to the good part, and that's when we finish this thing, we dress it, because I got some cool ideas here, and so I'll share that with you when we come back. And we're back. Burnt umber, dry brush. All right, so he didn't look like much before. I don't know, when it was all white, you know, from the plastic and everything, I'm like, oh man, that's ugly. But I know the magic happens when you start painting and detailing, when you start pimping this thing out. So dry brushed with the burnt umber. Okay, so now what, you can go a number of routes, you know. You could go green if you wanted like a goblin looking character, you know what I'm saying. Me, I have a confession to make. I started playing this game called Elder Scrolls. I don't know if some of you are aware of this game, but basically you're in like a fantastical medieval era, and you just go around, you go in dungeons and fight all kinds of stuff. And it's a very expansive map. It's a huge universe is what it is. And going down in some of these dungeons and stuff like that, I started running into these like undead characters and stuff, like these undead Nords and stuff coming at me with swords and bows and arrows and stuff like that. And so I don't know, it just clicked. I'm like, I like the way this guy looks, and so I think I'm gonna try to pimp him out as like a medieval style character. So I got a few things. I'm not gonna pull them out just yet, because we gotta finish painting this thing. Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is you could paint it any color you want at this point in time. Okay, as long as you're dry brushing it on there, a green, a gray, whatever, it'll still pop. Okay, but me, I think I'm gonna go with the color. It's Tuscan red is what I have, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of that Tuscan red, get some right here, I'm gonna take some of that and I'm gonna mix it in with the burnt umber that I already was using earlier. Okay, get me a I don't know, it's like a rouge, I would say a rouge color. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and start dry brushing at that. So that's going to give him like a reddish tint to his skin. Okay, so let's see how this translates. Just swiping, very gentle swipes. You don't want to really get in there because it's going to take away from what you've just done. But that's the beauty part too, because accidents happen. I make mistakes, you know. I might slip or something and put too much in an area or whatever. It's okay, because you can go ahead and repaint that section and start over. There's no shame in it, okay? I don't do everything in the first go, and I don't think the professionals do either. I think, you know, they have to fix some of their mistakes sometimes too, you know? So there's no shame in it. Anyway, so now we're starting to get a reddish hue to his body. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just finish that and come back. I'm going to talk about maybe one last dusting. Not sure. We'll talk about that when we come back. So hang tight. We're getting there. All right, guys, here we are. All right, so now I went ahead and did a dry brush in that red. So what I think I'm going to do now is a light dusting, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take some more of that Tuscan red, and then I'm going to use I have it's in vintage white. Now this is a folk art product, but you can, I'm sure, get it in Apple Barrel. All right, so I already got some in my palette, so I'm going to take my brush and just dab it into that white and mix it with that red, just to get a lighter shade. We don't want an overpowering palette. We want just a hint of light. Okay, so now with this we're going to be real careful. We're just gonna lightly dust, and it's gonna, what it is to focus mainly on raised areas. You know, like when you're standing in the sun, there's going to be a little bit of a shadow here depending on where you're standing, and the most reflective light's going to be, the shiniest spot's going to be on the raised areas, just like on the face, the nose here, the highest point of the cheekbones and foreheads and stuff like that. They catch the sun the most, so they're brighter, and then in your eye sockets it's starting to get more diffuse. So that's what we're doing, is we're just dusting this thing just to give it just a little bit more texture and make it look a little bit more organic. But we're not going to go too crazy here. I'm just little spots here and there, not too much on the fingers. Okay, and we're going to leave the horns alone. I'm going to leave the horns alone. I like the way they look now. Okay, so it's got the flat black and then that Tuscan red dry brushed in there. I like that. Okay, I don't think we need to do anything more with that. So we're going to focus on this because this is the skin. Okay, so I'm not going to touch that. Alright, so I'm just going to work all the way around this thing, 360, and then we're going to come back and then we're going to talk about dressing this thing. I'm going to play around with some materials. We'll see him when we get back. Okay, guys, we're back. Dry brush is done. He's ready to be dressed. Alright, so I'm not sure how it's going to go together. Like I said, I make this stuff up as I go along, alright? But I did have some of this stuff here, and I used some of this for the mystical creature that I made using a rat skeleton. Okay, I used some of this stuff. I think I'm going to cut some and make this guy a tunic out of this. Okay, and then I had some of this red felt, which I've used before, and I love the properties on this. I'm going to make him a loincloth. Okay, so in order to do that, I don't have a sewing machine. Okay, I know how to use a sewing machine, but I don't have one. So what I'm going to do is take a piece, cut out the size that I want, all right, and allow a little bit extra for a fold, okay? So what I need to do is put a bead of glue across and then fold it over, okay, and glue it in place. So it should be glued inside along here to leave this empty space, and that's what I'm gonna run some twine through, because I need to make 2 of these that's going to be tied in the front and in the back through this little pocket that we created with twine. Okay, so that's how we're going to do the loincloth. I could give it a clean edge down at the bottom, but I don't want to. It's gonna be all shredded and like battle worn. Okay. I think I'm going to give him some like leggings, you know, medieval style with the laced wraps, leather wraps, okay, and then maybe some synthetic fur or something to go here, all right, and then I might make him some gauntlet style gloves. They might have what's called pauldrons that are on his shoulders. But let me show you something. I had this idea and we're gonna give it a whirl. All right, went to the dollar store and I've seen this stuff a million times, but you know what, I thought in this case maybe it would be worth getting. Never been interested in getting this stuff. In the kids section, especially now, they have this stuff here. It's kids armor. All right, and it is small. It would be small even for a kid, and it's $1. Okay, so I looked at this one because I thought, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, but actually, unfortunately, it would take some tooling to make it work. It could be done, but it would take a lot of tooling to make that work. But I discovered that this one here will fit on them. Okay, I'm not necessarily a fan of that dragon. I think eventually I'm going to remove it and I'm going to put something else there. But for now, we're going to go with that. I'm going to have to deal with this when the time comes. And then I also picked up this sword at the dollar store. And it's small, and I thought, okay, maybe it's a bit big for him, but holding it up to his hands, he could quite easily use this as a two-handed sword, okay? And so, is he going to have it in his hands? No, obviously not. He's chilling. So what I'm going to need to do is make a sheath for that, and then it's just going to sit behind him, okay? But we're going to have to retool that. I'm going to have to make a sheath and everything else. So those are the directions we're going. I'm going to go ahead step by step and come back and show you the progression of clothing and how I did it. So hang tight, we're getting there. And we're back, guys. Alright, so I had some black materials, like a heavier material, and I liked it. So I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead. This is going to be his like undershirt, okay? So what I do with material when I don't have a sewing machine, which I don't, and I'll use this piece here because it's scrap. All right, so we got a piece of material. All right, this was one solid piece of material. So first of all, I'm going to decide how big I want a shirt, measure up, okay? So I need to cut that much. All right. So let's say this is the piece that I want to use for a shirt. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it right up the middle to about the center point, okay? So now it's been cut up the middle. And then I'm going to just cut a circle. That's where the head is going to go. Alright, so let's say that that's done. Alright, and so then now I have this. Kind of looks like a you know, an apron. So I'm gonna throw that over him, okay? So then I'm gonna go ahead and find out where his armpits are, okay? Cut the length that I want in the front here, or then I'm gonna go ahead and cut up along the arms, okay? And I'm gonna need to do this on both sides, okay? I'm being crude and rough with it. I was a lot more gentler when I made this, but I'm just trying to show you how it's done, okay? So now that I cut it up here where the arm is, I can take this piece and tuck it in and glue it along the seam here, okay? I'm going to glue it like that, okay? And then after I've cut this piece, I'm going to glue that there, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the sleeves. I'm going to glue this here, glue it, and glue all and fit all the pieces together, okay? It's just like putting a puzzle together, only you're hiding the seams where it's not visible, okay? So he has this shirt now. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this other piece I've got on here. I kind of like this. I'm just going to go ahead and glue that on there, I think. Kind of like a shoulder piece that'll probably be visible a little bit under the armor. And then, yeah, I'm just going to proceed from there. I think I'm going to go ahead and put that shield on there. So I'm going to go ahead and spray paint that thing black and then dry brush it. And then I'm going to go ahead and add that on there. So we'll come back. We'll see what the progression is, and I'll explain to you what I did. All right, guys, this is where I get super excited, because this is where everything just pops and just everything works out, okay? So the breastplate worked. It worked, you know, and they're always out. Even when it's not Halloween, they sell those things. So you could do this all year round, you know. So what I did was, it was held on by an elastic, okay? So I cut the elastic away, and it also had this extra piece of plastic that ran through where they had threaded the elastic in. So I cut that out, and I had some leather lacing on a roll that I just used to tie it real tight here. And then I put, naturally I glued the breastplate on with hot glue in the front, and then I cut me some straps with leather. Alright, now for our vegan friends, respectfully, you can use vinyl, you can use canvas, you could use, you know, anything, as long as you are able to get it attached, okay? And we're gonna paint this. This isn't, I'm not happy with this. I'm gonna paint this to make it look old. We're not gonna like make the back like too intricate, you know. We could put buckles and everything else, but the focal point is here, okay? So we're not gonna like kill ourselves back here when he's meant to be a character that is, he's sitting there checking you out, you know. Okay, so it's on there, and so now I'm gonna go ahead and dry brush this thing, you know. I just blast it with the black spray paint, let it dry, and then we're going to go ahead and do the dry brush. I'm going to do that for you right now, okay? So I've already got, what I use is sterling silver. This is a folk art enamels paint, okay? And it was already dry brushed to silver before, but they just went way too heavy on it. I wanted to maintain its dark, it's black, you know what I'm saying, charcoal. So it might have been shiny under there at one point in time, but you know, the soot from hell is just blackening, you know, filthy them up. So what I'm going to do is just going to go ahead and just lightly, in fact that's even maybe even too much. I like to just get just a dusting, you know. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, I'm liking that. That's better. Okay, you got to get that paint off there. You just want a hint. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and all this is going to do, this is going to give it like a, this is something I used to use for gunmetal, you know. It's just going to give it just enough silver in it to give the indication that it is in fact something metal. Alright, oh, just a tiny bit more here and there. Like I said, you can change that emblem in the middle. I think I'm going to, but not for this video. I just want to get you guys going on this. Alright, so I'm going to do that to the front and back. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead, I think I'm going to make him some gauntlets. Alright, and then we're going to take a look at those legs. Alright, so we're getting there, guys. I've got his sword that we're going to go to work on. I spray painted black, but you know what, it's too clean looking. I think I'm going to put gouges and chunks missing in the blade, make it crude, you know. And then we got to make a sheath for it. It's going to go there or there. I don't know, we'll take a look. And maybe we'll have to make a sheath for it and then a cord to attach it. Anyways, our demon's coming together. Hang tight. Alright guys, let me just interrupt real quick. Check what I got. I just got it. This shirt. The Weird Kids Show. Embrace the weird. I love it. This shirt is so comfortable, and I can't believe that I've got merch now. It's a bit early, but who cares? I love it. Hopefully you'll love it too. I've already been getting some orders for this stuff, so if you want your very own Weird Kid t-shirt or a mug or a decal or whatever, I'm gonna provide a link down in the description for my store. Okay, go check it out, see if there's anything you like. If not, that's okay too. Let's get back to the build. Alright guys, so we're back. Alright, now what I did is I cut some like elongated pear shapes out of leather. Alright, now what these are going to be is like gauntlets, kind of protective gauntlets that go, and I'm just going to go ahead and glue them on this. It's wide here because this is going to be the top of the hand. Okay, so that goes there, and then this part here is going to wrap around, and I'm going to go ahead and tie it with some kind of a leather cord, maybe even the black leather cord I used to tie the breastplate on there. But first I'm going to paint this because it's going to be too hard to paint it when it's on there, because I don't really want to get any on here, so and it'll be easier because all I'll need to do is just weather it after. So that's where we're at, and I'm going to go ahead and attach these. I'm going to put the wraps around it, and then I think I'm going to move on to the legs. So when we come back, the gauntlets will be done, the legs will be done, and I'll explain to you simply how I did that too. So we'll see you here in a second. Alright guys, we're back, and you know what, I got to working on this thing, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna blast it out because everything that I did I can easily explain. So he is done. Okay, I might add some stuff here and there, but for this video to get you going is enough, you know, because you could do something completely different. It's just the principle of showing you a direction you can go, and one option of something you can do with those 36-inch skeletons. Okay, all right, so starting here, I made him a necklace here just using twine, and this is a real wild boar cutter, okay, a tooth. So I wrapped the twine around there and just made him a necklace. Okay, I made a sheath for that sword. All right, and I repainted and then dry brushed the handle and wrapped it, make it look a little more crude. And then I took some of that suede line and did a French braid to make a strap that holds the sheath. Now the sheath is just vinyl, okay, which I have, yeah, we'll check that, a little separation there, but vinyl, you can get it in sheets at Joann's or, you know, a bunch of other places, and I just cut it to shape, fold it over like this, and then glue it up the seam, you know, and then bevel around the end the shape of the sword or whatever it is, and then paint it, you know, and then add some final details to it. I'm not done with that, but it's just to show you what it's going to look like, you know. You can trick this thing out. You can add as much as you want, you know, and it doesn't even have to be a demon if you want. I made a demon. If you want to make a demon, this is how I did it, okay? So I made these leather gauntlet, like protection, like armor for his hands, and it's just been wrapped with the suede cord. Down here in the legs, I cut material in strips and just wrapped it like a mummy, and then wrapped the suede line around it, and then I put on this piece of cut up blanket that I had. And he has his loincloth that's been added and everything, but that's it, you know. $10 for the, you know, $10 for the actual skeleton, and then basically the rest was just, you know, $1 for the sword, $1 for the breastplate, and the rest was just scrap materials, you know, and it was so it was a relatively cheap build, and it takes a while to corpse and fill out this thing, But just imagine what you can do. There's a lot of stuff you could do. You know, you could make a winged demon if you want, or whatever, you know. This kind of guy reminds me of something like maybe out of the Lord of the Rings, or I don't know. What do you guys think? But here, he is 1/1 scale. Okay, so these guys are this tall, this big in our story. Okay, so anyways, I hope you find something useful in this, and that you try something like this. And if you do, you know, please let me know. Head on over to our group, the Trio of Terror group on Facebook, and share with us. The Trio of Terror would love to see what you guys come up with. Okay, if you haven't done so already, like and subscribe and hit that bell. It's going to notify you when I upload future videos. And you know, I'm full speed ahead. I'm here to stay, folks. So if you haven't done so, go check out my brothers, Keith from Cobwebs and Candlesticks, and Vic Springston from Monster Misfits, formerly Graveyard Creepers. Okay, those guys are, you know, please show them some love and sub to their channels. So guys, I appreciate you, and until next time, peace.